Welcome to the Master of Orion 2 Monsters Guide. I will run a bit of stock footage at the start to explain what you're going to see next. There are 3 different fleet compositions that are going to aid you in the pest control assignment. I will focus on the most value-heavy version produced at space academies with scout labs on board first. Then interject better designs if you can bring lower amount of ships with any sort of consistency. Primary destroyer designs also have fast modification for the missiles, which is not necessary but will make your life easier against Amoeba. The idea is to have universal designs that can roll through the pets without refitting or dying. There will be losses among the frigate ranks, so you will have to send supports towards the later monsters, or can take more at the very start. Demonstration covers 3 destroyer strategy, but each destroyer can be replaced by 2 universal frigates if you want to kill monsters faster, since frigates don't require space academies and can be produced anywhere. As I said, there are destroyer designs without academies available, but you lose on the later game value of the veteran crew and extra research points from the scout labs. Say hi to the stars of the show. These divine creations' sole purpose is to exile vile beasts into the oblivion of hyperspace. I will provide details on why you see what you see in the relevant monster discussions. Frigate has maximized offensive potency to bait monsters into targeting them before the lower power destroyers that capped at a certain speed and firepower in order to not draw Hydra and eel fire. Another reason is that you can shave off 1 or 2 when doing frigate exclusive strategies, which is the part of the video as well. Crystal is the most lenient out of the anthology. Simple priority and 2 rounds damage check. You don't need 28.5 initiative against it, which you will see a few segments down the road. The max number you should aim for is 3 destroyers and 2 frigates, while losing 2 frigates. There isn't 29 initiative design that will be prioritized over destroyers unless you bring frigate for bait. You will lose only bait frigate in that case, but kill Crystal in the first turn with 3 destroyers, 2 frigates, and 1 bait ship, which not really worth it unless you have a singleton Crystal on the map. Now it's time to rearrange atomic structural and chemical homogeneity of our friend. You don't have to be precise with missiles placement. Just make sure to post 1 stack forward enough, so Spatial Compressor's 2 squares range automatic trigger will destroy a single missile. Pull the destroyers and frigate to the center, which stops Crystal from rotating too much. 29 initiative destroyers can glue new missiles on top of the stack. As with all monsters, I show you a rare worst-case scenarios. Crystal stays alive with 1 spatial compressor intact. If Crystal Ray will still be active, you can point blank again for the kill. This happens like 2 times out of 50 anyway. And I was able to capture it for the frigate exclusive only. The same logic of gathering in the middle being used while utilizing 8 frigates. I will speed up the trivial part of the video. You can use YouTube quarter speed function if you want to see what's going on in detail. From now on, only the relevant segments will have the normal speed to save your time. Frigates don't have 28.5 speed, so Crystal moves first on turn 2, but he used spatials already. We get point blank to kill Crystal. If you found yourself in this scenario with compressor staying alive, use the same idea of planting 1 missile close again. It's very rare to reiterate what I said before. Remember that frigate hull sides have to be positioned 2 squares away from the target to not hit it immediately. The final strokes of the masterpiece left before you hear the autistic screeching sound many monsters perform to make their demise even more anticlimactic. Quick glimpse into the fact that you can shave off 1 extra frigate if you don't need 29 initiative destroyer design for the maps without Amoeba, or if you are willing to solve Amoeba with frigates only, which is not a simple ordeal. Hydra is the finest delicacy Galaxy serves. Usually you get the bang for the buck for picking Hydra system on the menu. Inexperienced cook can spoil the dish by acting too hastily. Let it season by waiting before pouncing once it makes the move. Hydra should be cooked while alive in 2 rounds. They say not to eat foods with heavy metals or you will be dehydrated like this baby in the video. The extra reason why you have computers on your frigates and scout labs on the destroyers is to grant above 24 speed for your entire fleet. Hydra moves smart, despite that 2 destroyers and 1 frigate will be able to reach it. Overall, Hydra is the damage, unique priority, and mobility check type of creature. With 0 space designs, Hydra will move in such a way where you won't be able to reach it on turn 1, plus you need to have at least 24.5 initiative, or Hydra will target destroyer and frigate instead of 2 frigates. You can have -1 frigate with destroyers not fit for the Amoeba removing mission, while using semi-consistent tactic I show later. There are some quirks that have to be discussed, like why you can't bring 4 destroyers no matter what. That's the retreat tactic available only when you possess the destroyers without 29 initiative and therefore slightly higher firepower. Frigate designs are different as well to cover priority targeting, but that's beside the point. You don't even save 1 frigate, since the extra will get killed. It's way more efficient to kill Hydra with frigates. Destroyer strategies shown in case you happen to carry them over from the different monsters. We are moving ahead to block Hydra advancement with missiles and to protect the destroyers. Extra frigate doesn't retreat with destroyers because you have to turn Hydra, so it won't catch up to the runner after soaking up the missile salvo that will damage Hydra's engines. Our frigates don't have the 25 initiative without scout labs, so we will have to utilize one specific support runner with 6 regular designs. I show the worst case scenario, which is still more efficient than 3 destroyers and 5 frigates default strategy. That means that for Hydra singletons maps you should do frigates, which also can be utilized for the different pets. But in that case you won't have veteran destroyer ships during the war unless you build them specifically for that goal around turn 80 and station on Triple Space Academy systems. The tactic is very simple. Hide runner behind the frigates line and use one frigate to block off Hydra with missiles. Very trivial fight. Sometimes more frigates survive if you damaged Hydra weapons or drive with a lucky dice rolls. Repeat a hiding trick every turn. Overall you lose 4 or 5 frigates, but production cost is cheaper than destroyers if you don't plan on using them. Not much else to say for this drive-by whack-a-mole tactic. Enjoy the carnage. Hydra changes the targeting logic if you have more than 3 destroyers in your fleet composition. That's one of the limiting factors in the universal fleet designs. Destroyer will be targeted with the absolute certainty when you bring the 2 Hydra supports. With 3 or more frigates there is about 50% chance that either 2 frigates or 1 frigate and 1 destroyer will be hit, therefore 4 destroyers attacks is not viable due to inconsistency.
Eel is nothing more than a small fish in the big pond. Just a simple jabroni. Capiche? Whack him and you are made. You don't even have to throw a toaster in the bathtub. Put an eel inside and your job is done. Illegitimate target. Get it? I show myself out.
We split missiles into stacks of 2 for the most part to counteract lightning field activations. Otherwise there is about 66% chance to get the half of the stack jammed or a singleton missile killed if you have 1 per stack. Missiles die before MIRV separation stage, so all that accounted for. Eel moves smart, so you have to fire 1 missile from your destroyer that can't reach it on turn 1 and save double fast missile rack shot for the point blank. 3 supportive frigates required in the worst case scenario I'm displaying right now. When lighting field won't go down till the very end. Eel will perish way easier if you killed lighting field faster. Then you will need only 2 frigates. Eel always targets frigates unless self-destruction dealt enough damage to your destroyers. Eel is a simple damage and priority check, but forces universal designs into using more than 1 5 missiles rack. You still need 1 to skew the other pet's priority. Here's the recitement of epitaph, written the decade before all statues dedicated to a god Emperor Eel III were toppled by the angry mob. Still hear the shrill while we peel off the skin of an eel, time to kill, offer him for meal, for the queen until a deal is instilled. That's what natives gonna carve in the stone alongside RIP letters. We have non-29 initiative destroyers next on the ticket. Exactly the same strategy, although with different frigate designs for the priority targeting manipulation. It's here just to show that it's possible. It's way easier to kill Eel with 7 frigates if you follow the self-destruction tactic I will show next. I generated the random seed where lightning field doesn't die until the end to prove that 7 frigates is enough firepower. The idea is to stay ahead at 2 squares range from the front facing of the Eel, while flying the plasma-netted frigates behind to self-destruct. There is nothing more to it. Don't forget to press wait to let Eel fire on the turns 2 and 3. Eel has the battleship hull size, so the damage potential is 48 at point blank, but dissipates with every square. It's impossible to destroy the frigates if they will be hit by the edge of the drive explosion, since max damage is capped at 12 at point blank. There is a specific designs for the fishing trip with tolerant races. At Tachyon Communications level laser receives the 2nd level of miniaturization, therefore auto-fire upgrade. You can have 8 of these beauties to kill off Eel without advancing your chemistry tree. Tactic is very simple. Combine self-destruction with shooting lasers while being separated from Eel by 3 squares maximum since you can't get better range penalties.
I'll be surfing on clouds, clouds. I'll be soaring through the sky till I die. I tell no lies, still be high when they come for me. Leap off the cliff cause I believe I can fly. What in the hell has it done to me, Better believe we know this leaves a legendary, and we know not secondary. They knew this before I rolled away. Slip when they smell and they know well that this shit won't hit the shelf until it's ready, heavy potency.
When When it comes to the Amoeba, you need to have the 29 initiative frigates, but only 2 of them when you have 3 destroyers. It's the creature that limits universal destroyer designs to the battle scanner and fast missiles usage. Amoeba is solvable without fast upgrade for your missiles, but you will have to bring in 1 more bait frigate, so not really worth it. The trade-off is 1 frigate less for Crystal, but Crystal is way more consistent with 3 frigates than Amoeba with 3. Plus Crystal requires universal frigates unlike Amoeba. It doesn't matter where you move destroyers on the side, don't forget to press retreat though. Amoeba always targets the front-running destroyer, which forced to advance to that exact place, 3 squares less than maximum allowed movement. If not, Amoeba will end the move action too far away, or can destroy missiles with 4 squares range pulsars. There is no way to not lose destroyer, but I will show one scenario down the road that will be possible after the dragon. Imagine pilots' shock when you order them to face their worst nightmares, moldy jellyfish like pocket pussy about to burst the stored charge right in their face. As a rule of thumb, frigates should damage all shield facings before ending their turn about half of the screen from the missile stacks. Amoeba will always hug your ships before releasing non-dissipating pulsars. It will try to be on the missile side if the wave can hit them or on the outer edge otherwise. That means that you should end the turn close enough to allow fast missile to connect, but not to close for them being destroyed. This info comes especially handy for the regular speed missiles. Amoeba dies 95 times out of 100, but I'm showing you the worst case scenario as always. Now for the regular speed missiles, you will have to move 1 square forward to account for Amoeba range, fire the missiles, and the middle destroyer must have 4 move points left. Extra frigate has higher targeting priority due to the firepower. The idea is to hold Amoeba in place. Then you have to feed frigates similar to the original strategy. You have to be really precise and understand missile speed quirks for the turn 2 and turn 3, which you most likely read in part 4 of my article already. I don't recommend this tactic despite predictability of Amoeba on turn 2, since remaining turns will be a guessing game. In this example, I show that after missiles connect, subspace teleporter will stay alive, so you will have to move among missiles grid to not end up near them, while keeping close enough to Amoeba. On turn 1, frigates have to fire and spread out in a way where Amoeba can't hit 2 frigates at the same time, or frigate and the missile stacks. There is not enough space, so Amoeba can randomly choose a target that is closest to the missiles, which will kill some of them most likely. On turn 2, the idea is to move about 4 squares away from missiles, followed by turning to face Amoeba potential future position. You shouldn't turn too far or missiles will have hard time catching up. Move all your frigates close to Amoeba, but separate them from the missiles. You want to end turn 3 with 2 frigates being close by, so Amoeba will aggro on them, otherwise just rinse and repeat. Time for the elevator music for the rest of the clip. Stay tuned for the dragon segment. Video split into chapters, so you can skip ahead.
With the witch, if you're there to come get with the sit, better play my shit like the witch. That's the Blair Witch. Got him lost in the woods, couldn't find his way out with a flare kit. Plus a compass and a couple of arrowheads, just a blue nigga body like there he is. Another victim, lost to the sick shit, another crime scene, impossible to miss it. Gospels glisten over the gossip and whispers, wishing they could pick my mind. Got a piston in a straight line, they'll take their own life before they betray mine. Better lay it down, better not cross that line. If you think it's time, you'd have lost your mind. Cause I have no mercy and I'm taking no prisoners. Just open visuals, point blank range and soaking the pistol holes. It's typical. Kick your goals out the window, I've accomplished them all. Stopping their law like I wanna be, copping them all. Topping them all like top ramen. I am the god shaman, lyrical lawman. Verbal Osama Bin Laden, I'm bombing them all off, yeah. When I'm chilling up in the loft, when I get off work and step outside of their vehicle, I drop off for another forensic case. The true lyricist up in your face, ready to crack up the trouble and bass. Now that I'll be showing up at your place, and now they get my time, be slapping the taste. Better stay in your place and get a taste of it. Make them go ape shit on some raging shit and like potato chips, I'm gonna lay them crisp. This my time, can't be late for it, I gotta catch my flight and I make it tick. Cause my bag got nicked with a razor slick, cause my blade won't fit on some Jason shit. Just face a picture in the blood track 6. This is my world, come visit my pit of darkness. Catch your whiff of the stench of the carcass. You know my flow is grand like Larson, and I still don't give a damn like Cartman from South Park. And park in a Martian vehicle, living near yard and I ain't no conhead. Part of my comedy like Martin, part of like Mars, they task with a gat to the back of your head and blasting. Grinning red lasers, leaving the blazing, trying to dead haters without no coffin. I'm up in the morning without no coffee. Just a quick glass of Nesquik, then I get in the lab and flows I'm dropping. Sit like a lab with Parvo coughing, the color of cop, but an elegant officer, elegant 3, I rock while I'm with that elegant C, staring in the face of Ripley, please. Yo mercy, yo no, I'm so flow bloodthirst, got a green moon curse and you can't reverse me. Peer through the mind like open thought surgery, and I never give a fuck if they said it's never heard of me. Time to pay my murder fee for a drop in the bucket. You wanted another blood trap, well fuck it, here I am, motherfuckers, and you know who I be. I go by the D. N-A-T-R-U-L-Y-R-I-C-I-S-T, fucking up your crew every time I spew that fucking blood trap shit.
Hope this energetic track got your blood boiling before facing the final boss. This design goal is to capture the dragon attention at the minimum number of missiles and specials beside the reinforced hull. Notice how no computer installed as well. You need a destroyer that guarantees no drive explosion and no phasers point defense overkill, while having so few items on board that drive is the most likely system to get damaged or destroyed without the explosion. The reason for that is the fact that Dragon fire the phasers targeting destroyer first, and if you get at least a few damage points on the engine, Dragon won't hurl the breath at that destroyer, switching the target to frigate instead. If you get unlucky and most of the damage will be absorbed by hull, Dragon will finish off that destroyer, but that's not a big deal since it won't explode and can't be used anywhere else unless refitted or for very specific Amoeba tactic. You can see why missiles were split that way besides the lightning field reasoning for eel. Missiles fired like that count as a separate stacks. 1 PD phaser wasted on a single missile. 2 heavily armored missile stack has 48 health compared to 42 damage done by 1 Dragon phaser, so we get a good ratio again. Phasers get drained the first turn, and on the second your missiles will disable them again to deliver the coup de grace to the local King Ghidorah castrated headless child. It's supposed to set the whole world on fire, but only makes my video drag on. Okay, that's the last one. Dragon can compete with the MC from the previous segment cause he always spits fire. I'm out. What I shown here is the fact that Dragon always fires his breath at the frigates when he has a choice between sufficiently damaged bait destroyer and frigate. You have about 55% chance that destroyer will survive. Tested on 50 random rolls sample size, which I won't show here since I'm limited by the time constraints. Also, I take 2 frigates instead of 1, because if you won't have enough damage to put a dent in the Dragon engines, this magnificent creature will bring untamed wrath of the daddy issues upon your entire fleet. A quick demo of the paralyzed Dragon if the breath is destroyed. Followed by what can often occur when you don't bring in unique bait design. Chain explosions is the reason why you can't do frigates exclusive against Dragon unless you have an access to the Class 2 shields, which you will see after the Amoeba Dragon bait usage. Amoeba programmed to target higher ship classes, but priority among them still applies, so Amoeba will be blind to the possibility of killing your entire fleet if you present the neatly wrapped gift package. Useful to save your destroyers that got more experience from the previous monster fights. I don't recommend Class 2 shield since you will be skipping mass drivers that will cover the fighter's defense angle and can be used offensively to the great effect. If you are playing the race that can't pick Class 7 shields, then this design is what you can use for the Dragon. Jammer can be substituted by the cloak field passive. Remember that unlike beam defense, extra 50% chance not reduced by scanners will be gone as soon as you decloak. The last thing I wanted to mention is frigates beside that design don't have an armored upgrade is because the offense rating will drop off dramatically in the eyes of monsters for some reason. Thanks for watching my video until the very end. Leave the comment if you don't understand something or have a new ideas. Part 2 might be coming if I get enough requests to cover the other compositions that I will keep to myself for now. Check the video description for the articles and other useful links like tactical combat deep dives.